All right, let's dive into one of the biggest changes in all of human history. And believe it or not, the clues are all tucked away in one incredible valley. So think about this for a second. How did we, as a species, go from just finding our food to actually making it? I mean, that is a huge leap, right? It wasn't just a simple change in diet. This was an innovation that would literally change the face of the planet.
Okay, so what are we really talking about here? Well, it breaks down like this. Foraging. That's basically hunting and gathering. You're living off the land as you find it. But farming? That's totally different. That's about cultivating, planting, and actively shaping your world to get a reliable meal ticket. And the story of how we got from point A to point B? Well, that's what we're digging into today.
All right, Section 1. So, where do we go to find the answers? We're heading to the Tehuacán Valley, deep in central Mexico. And you might be asking, why there, of all places? Well, it's because this valley is like a perfect time capsule. It saved all the clues we need to solve this ancient puzzle.
So what makes this place so special? It's all about the climate. It's super dry, semi-arid. And those dry caves, they're like nature's own vacuum sealer. Think about all the stuff that would normally just rot away. Ancient plants, tiny seeds, even leftovers from a meal thousands of years ago. Here, it all survived. And that gives archaeologists this incredible, undisturbed layer-by-layer record of how things changed over millennia.
I mean, really think about that. In most places on Earth, that kind of fragile evidence is just, poof, gone, wiped out by rain and rot. But not here. Here, it all stuck around. It's not just a collection of old stuff. It's literally a library of the past, letting us read the story of this massive change page by page.
Okay, Section 2. So what were these early farmers actually growing? It wasn't just one magic bullet, one super plant that changed everything. No, it was a team, a powerhouse combination of 4 crops that would become the bedrock of life in Mesoamerica. So let's meet these superstars.
And here's the starting lineup. You've got maize for pure calories, for energy. You've got beans for protein, and, get this, they actually make the soil better. Then there's squash, which is storable food with nutritious seeds. And finally, peppers, bringing the flavor and the culture. You see, these weren't just picked at random. They formed a perfect system where each one supported the others. It was genius.
Let's just take maize for a second. Honestly, its story is one of the most incredible transformations in history. Its wild ancestor is this stuff called teosynth, and it looks nothing like the corn we eat today. It's more like a skinny, scraggly grass. It took thousands of years and countless generations of people carefully selecting the best seeds to turn that into the amazing energy source we know as corn.
And then there's squash. I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. A stored squash is basically a food battery. Just imagine, you don't have refrigerators, you don't have canning. Being able to just put a squash in the corner and have it be good to eat months later, that is a total game changer. It's your food security for the long, dry season.
Now, beans, they were the nutritional workhorse. You can't just live on maize, right? It's all carbs, all starch. You'd be missing crucial protein. Well, that's where beans come in. They filled that nutritional gap perfectly. The combination of maize and beans created a complete protein, a balanced diet that could actually support bigger, healthier communities. And you can't forget the peppers. This is so cool because it shows us that from the very beginning, food has never been just about calories. It's also about joy, about culture. Peppers, or chilies, added that kick, that flavor that makes a meal memorable. They turned basic sustenance into actual cuisine and became a huge part of cultural identity.
Okay, Section 3. Now, it's really tempting to imagine this as some big, sudden agricultural revolution, right? Like one day everyone's a hunter-gatherer, the next they're all farmers. But the real story, the one that Tehuacán Valley tells us, is, well, it's not like that at all. It was a super slow, gradual, experimental process. Lots of trial and error.
And that brings us to this really important idea, part-time farming. You know, nobody just woke up and decided to ditch everything they knew. For hundreds, even thousands of years, people were flexible. They did a little bit of farming, but they also kept hunting. They kept gathering wild plants. It was a mix, a hybrid strategy. Kind of the best of both worlds, really.
And you can really see that gradual shift here. You start with just gathering what's already out there. Then you move into this phase of early management. You know, maybe clearing a little space around a plant you like, or scattering some seeds to help it along. After that comes initial domestication, actually planting things on purpose. But look, the final phase is still a mixed economy.
Farming and foraging were living side by side for a very, very long time.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth do we know all this in such detail? Well, it's some serious archaeological detective work. They've got two main tools in their toolkit. First up is stratigraphy. Super simple concept. The deeper you dig, the older the stuff is. Easy enough. Then they use radiocarbon dating. That's a chemical test they can run on things that were once alive, like a seed or a piece of wood, to get a really precise age. You put those two things together and bam, you can build an incredibly accurate timeline.
Let's try to imagine a year in the life of one of these part-time farmers. When the rainy season comes, okay, you're busy. You're planting, weeding, protecting your little garden. But then, in the middle of the season, you're not just sitting around. You're still going out and gathering wild foods just in case. Then comes the big harvest. And for the rest of the year, during the dry season, you're living on your stored supplies, cracking open those squash food batteries, and you're still hunting. It's a really smart, diversified way to live.
And it's not just plants they find the tools too. As archaeologists dig through the layers, they start to find more and more grinding stones. These are called manos and maize. And what do you use those for? Processing grain, especially maize. So when you see more and more of these tools showing up, it's a dead giveaway that maize is becoming a much, much bigger deal in their day-to-day lives.
All right, section 4. So let's zoom out for a minute. These started as really small-scale, local experiments, right? Just a few families trying something new. But the long-term consequences? Absolutely massive. These first tentative steps toward farming, they were laying the groundwork for everything that came next. We're talking entire civilizations.
And you can see the domino effect right here. Once you have a more reliable, predictable food supply, well, you can support more people, so the population grows. And if you have crops in the ground that you need to tend to, you can't just wander off. You have to stick around. So people start building permanent settlements, actual villages. Farming literally allowed people to put down roots.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? These crops weren't just food. They were the foundation of a way of life that would shape Mesoamerica for millennia. It wasn't about a new recipe. It was about building a whole new world. The entire future of the region, from villages to empires, was built on the foundation of these 4 plants, first cultivated in places just like the Tehuacán Valley.
And that kind of leaves us with a big final thought, doesn't it? The people who first started planting a few seeds in the Tehuacán Valley, they had no idea where it would lead. They weren't thinking about cities or pyramids. They were just trying to make it through the next dry season. And it makes you wonder, what are the small, quiet experiments happening in our world today? What are the things that seem minor right now, but could end up completely reshaping our future centuries from now?